Hello, my friends, and where you at? Guess what? We have made it through a second week of NFL team previews. This is number 8 of 32. We're doing the Seattle Seahawks today. I am Jim Derry, sports betting writer at The Advocate, Times-Picayune, bet.nola.com, and Dattitude host. And this is bet.nola.com, powered by the Dattitude Podcast. What do we think about the Seahawks? Well, it depends. How much faith do you have in Pete Carroll and Geno Smith? Because to me, when it comes down to the Seahawks, that's what we're talking about, which means we have a lot to talk about. Coming up next. Okay, look, when it comes down to the Seahawks, I know I've kind of given some things away. We talked about the 49ers yesterday, maybe being a little bit surprisingly not quite as good as a lot of people think they're going to be. Well, the Seahawks are a trendy pick to be that team that unseats the 49ers in the NFC West, if there is one. Now, I've already told you my surprise in this division, as far as to be good, is the Rams. Do I think they're going to beat the 49ers? No. But I think they might beat the Seahawks, and here's why. If you go through what Seattle was able to do in 2022, and it was kind of one of those things where everything went right. Remember this time last year? We didn't even know if it was going to be Drew Lock or Geno Smith. Now, granted, those of you who've watched my previews in the past know that I tend to I try to get away from this, but I jump on the same kinds of things. I was down on the Seahawks last year. I thought they were going to win 4 games. I thought they were going to be terrible. And you know what? If you would have gave truth serum to Pete Carroll, I think he would have told you he thought they were going to be terrible too. I mean, they had lost Bobby Wagner. Their defense was kind of in shambles. And although they had DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, who was going to throw it to him? What happened to be Geno? He threw for almost 4,300 yards. If you would have gave me a 20-1 shot that Geno Smith was going to throw for 43 or just shy of 4,300 yards, you could have made a lot of money, because there is no way in the world that I would have thought that would have happened, no matter who he's got with him. Rashad Penny ended up getting hurt in the 5th game. Well, here comes rookie Kenneth Walker out of TCU, and he did just fine. He ran for over 1,000 yards. Will Kenneth Walker be able to take that next step? I think he can. I think Kenneth Walker is the kind of back that is going to be a really good one in this league for quite a while, assuming that he stays healthy, just about like everybody. But this offensive line was ranked 27th in the NFL, and it isn't much better now. They haven't done a whole lot to shore up that O-line. What did they do to address this offensive line? They didn't pick any offensive linemen until their 4th pick. It was actually their 5th pick in the 4th round, Anthony Bradford out of LSU. And then they picked a center out of Michigan in the 5th round. So neither one of these guys likely to start. I like what they did in the draft. Getting Devon Witherspoon out of Illinois with the 5th overall pick. He comes in and helps show up this defense. Again, this secondary. Surprisingly, what has Seattle been known for in the Legion of Boom, I guess? They've been great throughout the career of Pete Carroll in his 14th season here. But they haven't been great lately. Again, if you look at the numbers that are on your screen, 13th against the pass, but 30th against the run. The defensive front wasn't very good. Bobby Wagner is back. He spent some time with the Rams not long. He wanted to come back home to Seattle, and he got a contract for $3.5 million. Hey, is this his last year? Maybe he has one more in him. Is he going to make the Seahawks any better than that big, fat 26 that sticks out on your screen? The 26th overall defense? Got a lot to prove there. But going back to the offense, look, I think that Geno, he surprised me last year. So there's nothing that says he won't surprise me again. I just can't believe in him. I love DK Metcalf. I think DK Metcalf could be, you could make an argument that DK Metcalf is the toughest wide receiver to stop in the NFL. I mean, that's quite a statement, because there's a lot of good ones, but you could make that argument. I know this, I wouldn't want to tackle him. Tyler Lockett isn't far behind, and you're talking about 2 guys who combined last year for, what was it? Let me let me get this. I don't want to get this wrong. You're talking about two guys last year who combined, they each had over 1,000 yards receiving, and combined they had 258 catches. 258 catches and 15 touchdowns. So that's quite a duo. Definitely guys to throw to for Geno. I just don't love this offensive line. So with that, what about the schedule? Well, if you take a quick glance at it, it's the 22nd toughest schedule, meaning it's a little below the middle. It's the 11th easiest schedule, depending on how you want to look at it. Well, we look at it whichever way you want. Take your pick. But here's my thing with this. There's one thing that jumps out at me right away. I hate that week 5 bye week. To me, it's almost like not having one. I mean, when you have a bye week that early in the season, it is almost like not having one. They only have 3 primetime games. You'd think a team that was 9-8, and if they were thought to be on the rise, they'd have more than that, and 2 of their night games on Thursdays. Early on, they better win. They better go 3-1. Rams at Detroit, home for Carolina, at the Giants. To me, this is the easiest part of the schedule. If you put them all in blocks of 4, this is the easiest part of the schedule, in my opinion. They have got to go 3-1 here if they're going to exceed expectations, beat that overall over-under win number of 9, and because then after the bye week, at Cincinnati, Arizona's easy enough, although I think they're going to lose to Arizona at least once. Maybe I'm wrong. But even if, let's say they win. Let's say they lose to Cincinnati and beat Arizona. What's after that? I've told you this before. I think Cleveland's going to be a much improved team. At Baltimore. Okay, Washington's not going to be that great. I've told you I like the Rams. At L.A. Then they play San Francisco, at Dallas, at San Francisco, home for Philadelphia, at Tennessee. That 5-game stretch is brutal, and it would not surprise me in the least if they went 0-5. Okay, give them a win against Tennessee and they lose against Pittsburgh. I think they split those 2. So that is easily a 1-5 stretch before they finish up on the road at Arizona. I know it says that it's the 22nd toughest schedule, which means the 11th easiest, but I don't think it's easy at all. I don't think there's anything easy about this. Again, that opening 4-game stretch, they better come out of it 3-1. I mean, really, you're probably hoping they go 4-0. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not as high on Detroit as a lot of other people are. Rams, Detroit, Carolina, Giants. Again, if they come out of that 2-2 or worse, you can shut the book on this season. And I'm not doing it. I'm not taking anything good with this team. Drum roll, please. Let's get to the final numbers. Yep, 6-11. That's what I got here. I got a 3rd place finish in the NFC West behind the Rams, and you can laugh at me. I know there were people giving me heck for saying the Rams were going to finish 8-9, and I thought they were a bargain at plus 820 to win the division. I still think that way. I know who's not a bargain. It's the Seattle Seahawks, and I can tell you right now, plus 220 to win the division. No way. No way I'm touching that. Best bet with this team is the under 9 wins. I don't like the juice that you have to pay to get it, but it just goes to show that Vegas wants to put Seattle. They wanted to put Seattle at 8.5. They just couldn't because they knew they'd get a ton of action, and just in case, they can't afford to. If Seattle is as good as they were last year, they just didn't want to eat that hook. I just don't like that schedule, and I'll tell you, especially that stretch of games that we talked about: San Francisco at Dallas, at San Francisco, Philly at Tennessee. I mean, that is as brutal a stretch as you can get. And so if you don't go into that game, let's say how many games do they have? 5 and 5, 10. If you don't go into that stretch, to me, 7-3, you got no shot at the playoffs. I mean, that's the way I feel about it. And I don't think there's any way they go 7-3. I think, better yet, if they're 6-4 or worse, I don't see how they win 9 games because they are going to be brutalized during that stretch. So I really like this under. Again, I don't love the juice that you got to pay to get it. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but this is going to be one of my bets. I'm going to play this. So we'll see. NFC West is an interesting division for sure. We have had fun this week. Next week we jump right into it. The AFC West. You want to talk about one I've been waiting for. Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos on Tuesday. Can I just start it now? Nah, I'll wait. And you'll be back with me. See you Tuesday.